Tonight we have on with us Alex Glew, Dr. Alex Glew. He's running for California State Assembly District 24. Dr. Alex Glew, I'm going to read you a little bit about him. He has a substantial amount of expertise, and he's really well equipped to do the job for the 24th Assembly District. You can go to his website later and take a look, but I want to read a little bit about him. It says Dr. Alex Glew is local to his area. He was born in San Francisco and grew up in the city of Pacifica on the coast of San Mateo County. He attended public schools in Pacifica and you're going to have to correct me. There you go. It was a tongue twister. High school in San Francisco. Yes, he went to public schools. Subsequently, he attended and graduated from UC Berkeley with a bachelor's and a master's degree. Then he found employment in Silicon Valley. Wow, he's still a conservative and he went to Berkeley. That's unbelievable. He worked for a decade in a mid-sized company that became a Fortune 500 company. Next, he attended Stanford University to complete a doctorate. Thereafter, he started a business he has run for 20 years. He's lived in the South Bay since, including Mountain View, Saratoga, Los Altos. He's been married for 21 years. He's a family man to his wife, Martha, and they currently live in Los Altos with their golden retrievers. He's a dog man as well. I mean, that's awesome. He runs an engineering firm in Mountain View, and he's active in his community. Welcome to the Erin Cruz Show, Dr. Glew.
Thank you very much for having me.
I mean, I know it seems funny. It seems funny that I talk about that family man aspect and the dogs and being in the community, but it's so important, especially for what you're running for.
Yes, it's important to have a community and to be part of a community, to know what the people around you want and expect, what kind of lives they want to live, and what government has to do not to interfere with that.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting that what you brought up there, it's not the job of the government to govern our lives. And where do you stand? I mean, I read through your entire website, but where do you stand on limited government as opposed to what's in Sacramento now?
Government should do what it's supposed to do very well and nothing else. So what it should...
I love it. I love it.
What it should do is largely prescribed in the Constitution and a few other places, but it's not as much as a lot of people think. It's here to create opportunity, freedom for us. And once we have freedom, we're here to do for ourselves.
It's very basic. It's provides us a climate, so to speak, for where we can operate our lives and live freely. I agree with that. Now, right now we have in office people who literally want to legislate straws. They're literally creating spaces for people to shoot up heroin. Where do you stand on these issues?
Well, there's other things too. They're now thinking about legislating what time schools can start in the morning, taking away even basic controls from local school districts. Things. I believe in local control. I'm a design review commissioner in my city. It's volunteer work that we do. As an engineer, it's a valuable thing I can do to help my community. People like to preserve their cities, their neighborhoods. They even like to preserve their streets. They chose to live because of the way it is in a certain place. So it's best for local people to enact local rules because they know what they can do best. It's impossible for people in Sacramento to know best what's going on in every city, 500 plus cities in this state. The 57 counties do in Sacramento. And certainly the people in the big cities, Los Angeles and San Francisco, don't know what people in the little cities want. So really, I don't agree in Sacramento being an overarching big brother sort of government. I think as much as possible should be done by the people who have to live it.
Right. I agree. I believe that any sane Republican would agree. Less tax, less regulation, less government. Let the people work for themselves in the local communities to govern as locally as they can. But people in Sacramento don't agree with you, as a matter of fact. They want to legislate health care. They want universal health care. That's a problem. Where do you stand on this issue?
Universal health care is a very poor idea. Only a few percent of the state actually doesn't have health care. They can certainly be enrolled in the system that we have in place already. Furthermore, we wouldn't need as much health care if our health care was oriented more toward preventative medicine. You know, we have so many diseases associated with malnutrition, poor food. How can we do that in so many here? It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And, you know, but what makes sense to them, these people in Sacramento, is budgets, money, jobs, government jobs, mind you, to be able to manage these sorts of programs, which government, we know, can't manage major programs well at all. Just look at the DMV here in California. Look on a federal level at the VA, on a very basic level, of course. But they still haven't described how that they would pay $400 billion for this medical program. You know, it's good to hear that you don't support universal health care. But what are the solutions that you're offering in lieu of that? More free market options, preventative care you were talking about?
Yes, certainly. Free market options are the way to go. Private industry can provide much more economical and superior solutions to a problem. You know, if you want a new, faster computer, do you put the best tech companies on it, or do you ask the government to do it? Unfortunately, when you want to go to the DMV, you do have to wait in line 4 to 8 hours because California can't even run the Department of Motor Vehicles. I certainly don't want them running every hospital and having my life depend upon them when they can't run the DMV and refuse to even audit it.
Right. Right, and that is another issue, is the money. Where's the money going towards the DMV? And same thing with healthcare. If they're doing such things with the DMV, what makes us think that they'll do anything different with yet another government organization?
There's other aspects of it too that are problematic. It would include so many more people as government employees, which is exactly the opposite of what we want. We want them beholden to the state of California and all of the pension problems that seem to be going along with that.
Right. Can you repeat that again? The computer glitched, and I want to make sure that people understood that you were saying that we don't want to be beholden to the government.
No, I don't want my health, and I don't think people should be beholden to the state of California for their basic health and, in fact, their life in that case. There are a couple of problems, which is that the state isn't good at running big things. The state can't run the DMV. They certainly couldn't run a hospital system that was a $400 billion enterprise. Further, we don't want more government employees. The California pension system now has probably $1 trillion deficit. It depends who you talk to. If you listen to what Stanford says, and I believe Stanford, they estimated it at $1 trillion. That's what the current set of employees. If we included 15 to 16% of the GDP, which is what medicine costs, into government operations, it would just blow up the problem. No, we don't want to be dependent upon the government for our lives or our health, and we don't want to be dependent upon the government to manage something of that magnitude.
Right. I agree. Now, you know, absolutely. So now we've talked about government in California and the idea that they want to rule almost every area of our lives, including healthcare. Where do you stand on some of the other issues like immigration reform and respecting the federal laws where immigration stands here in California?
I believe we should follow all federal laws. I wouldn't make an exception for, paying taxes or immigration. You know, there's lots of laws that people don't necessarily want to follow, but that's not how it works. So we should follow the law. Our country lets in 1 million immigrants a year. A lot of people around this world that have need. There are 6 billion people in this world living in poverty. They can't all come to the United States. So we need immigration reform. but we also need to after those laws, the unwillingness out is unsettling.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand, and I believe though that Sacramento is taking the approach where they wrote, Kevin De Leon and others put forth legislation like SB 54, limiting the ability to communicate with federal law enforcement agencies. And while I believe in states' rights, I do believe that federal immigration law is there for a purpose, and homeland security and ensuring that our borders are strong is important. And so I think that those people who are running for office, like yourself, understanding where you stand on those issues, it's important. And
a lot of people seem to misunderstand SB 54. It's about protecting criminals, people who've committed a crime. It's not about protecting the vast numbers of illegal immigrants who are just going about their lives. It's about protecting those who've been arrested. If they came in the front door, they wouldn't get in. We don't let criminals in. So it's hard to understand how anybody can justify allowing criminals to stay here and not to cooperate with the federal authorities. There's an incredible amount of crime and violence associated with not enforcing laws against criminals.
Right. It is, and it's a lot of money, a lot of time and energy and resources put towards individuals who should just simply let the federal authorities deal with it and deport them. Now, where do you stand on the bullet train? They're still trying to put through initiatives, and they still want this bullet train.
I call it the crazy train. I'm an engineer. I have a good understanding of how things work. And the first aspect of it is that something that big, that long, is likely not to ever work reliably. There aren't a lot of trains that long at speed. There aren't any, really. Also, we have an airplane system that gets us from LA to San Francisco faster and cheaper. So I'm not sure why we would go backwards in terms of capability. If we were moving large amounts of product, heavy things, that's different. You can't put them on a. The plan is to move people. It's not an advancement. Where we do need to put some effort is into metro regional transportation. People wonder why there isn't a lot of inexpensive housing in metro. Well, that's because they're full. There's no more dirt available. What we need are short, train. We need more lanes and more trains in San Francisco and LA and San Diego, probably Sacramento, that spoke out 50 miles in each direction. That way people could get into quickly, efficiently, environmentally. They wouldn't be stuck in traffic forever. And that would be a much better use of funds. Not everybody wants to live in Manhattan. Not everybody can afford to live in Manhattan. But a lot of people work in Manhattan, and they can get in and out of Manhattan.
Right.
You can't get in and out of LA or San Francisco easily, so you end up trying to justify the housing prices there, when in fact you would probably rather live in a nice suburban house and raise your kids somewhere safe.
Right. So what I'm understanding from you is that if there are solutions to the problems of urbanization and traffic and other issues which are cost effective, smart, and efficient, you're not opposed to seeing the plan. But crazy trains to nowhere aren't your solution.
Yeah, the crazy train, the high-speed bullet train is not a good solution. It doesn't solve. It's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
I love that. It's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Well,
big boondoggle for some people.
Well, it might be, but the reality is this: we can't afford it. And I don't know about you, but most people, if they can't afford something, they don't spend the money.
No, yeah, the government shouldn't buy things they can't afford either.
Right. So, the credit cards are there for a reason, but let's not be stupid and outspend ourselves and build up debt we can't pay off. Sounds like a California problem that we need solved by people like you in the assembly. Now, Alexander Glew, Dr. Glew, could you please just repeat to us your name, why you're running for office, and then tell people where they can get involved?
Sure. My name is Dr. Alex Glew. I'm running for California Assembly District 24. That is the Silicon Valley and San Mateo County, Sunnyvale up to Menlo Atherton, and the coast out near Half Moon Bay. You can find me at my website, glew2018.com. You can email me at win@glew2018.com. We would be happy to have your help and to give California a sane alternative so that they can walk away from the crazy solutions that are being put forward now.
Wonderful. That's perfect. I think that people can resonate with you, and the fact that you want strong solutions and you have the background to make it happen is so important. So I'm hoping that all of our listeners get involved in your campaign, time, talent, and treasure, any way that they can to help get you elected into office. Thank you, Dr. Glew, for joining us.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
God bless.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com.